Hey guys, this is my 9/11 shave. I'm not actually shaving on 9/11, but I tend to shave in the wee hours of the morning before the day has really come up. And I don't really know what, my mind isn't, what's today, you know? Um, and, uh, and so 9/11 was officially yesterday, and we remembered some things, my wife and we're thinking about some things, and and so I wanted to share those a little bit. Not too much different than some other people out there, but I just wanted to remember what happened. Um, I'm also kind of a couple days late because I've started over the last few months to shift my publishing schedule, the video, and pushing it out a day later than I used to, and so it's not the day of the shave, but it's the day after, and that gives me the whole day to put in comments. I for my shave of the day post, to put in comments about the performance of the various items, the scent, things like that during my breaks in the day. I've got time to do that instead of trying to do it right all after the shave. And I think I like that. I think I'm going to keep doing it, but it also means that you're probably going to be seeing this kind of 2 days after 9/11. Well, that's the way it is. But to honor those folks who lost their lives during that period, I have, or at least to remember them, uh, you know. I did buy the R4L, the Responders for Life soap from Stirling. I guess it was last year, and it was for a benefit and stuff, and that was really neat, and it seems appropriate today as well. I'm going back to one of my very first Badgers that I ever bought, Whip Dog, and they are a really good Badger if you like easy flow through, if you like softness, if you like a puffy cloud of softness rather than a lot of backbone. And I do have that same post shave, so I'll throw that on afterwards. And then, as kind of a salute, I'm showing my new polished Karve, Christopher Bradley razor. The handle's pretty much untouched here. It had been developing a patina over time because it is brass. But then I thought, you know what? I'd seen so many pictures of polished ones that I thought, I'm going to go ahead and do that to mine. If it's a huge mistake, a lot of people are selling their Karves, their used ones online, the brass ones, I'm assuming because they're going to snag up and get on the waiting list for the stainless steel version. And I'm sorry, I'm a little burpy. I don't like that matte stainless steel look, that kind of bead blasted stainless steel. And so I'm liking my Karve. I want to keep the brass version, I think. Probably good self-discipline for me not to upgrade all the time, and I've got all the plates for this guy, so let's just use him and keep him. I might buy the 3¼ inch handle. This is the 3½, and just see if I like that one. At the time, 3½ was they didn't have a 3¼ and the 3 was too short. So what I did was I took, and here's the shiny in the head, and I think it looks great. And this is just with hand polishing, not a machine. A cotton rag, shop rag, and clean one, of course. And then I happen to have on hand just some chrome polish from Mother's chrome polish, and I didn't know if it would work on brass, but I figured it probably won't hurt anything, so let me try it. And sure enough, it worked pretty well. And so I polished the top cap. I did give the sides of this paste plate just a little bit of polish. It removed some of the patina, just a little bit there on the side, but I didn't really do the base plate. And then I did the this top part. I should have taken some pictures, and then I did the bottom cap here. This was there's just so many grooves and things like that working it by hand looked like it was just going to be too much of a chore. I love the way it looks. So far, I'm glad I did it. I do plan on letting the patina develop and seeing how that looks. I don't think I want to get it to a mirror polish. It's not a mirror polish. But this one's going to hide just kind of marks and things like that, because I expect to keep this razor for a really long time. If you polish it to a mirror polish, then scratches and marks and things that just show up with life kind of draw more attention to themselves. And so I think maybe this is going to be a polish that I'm going to be happy with. So I'm going to, I think I may have a little bit of residue from the polish. I'm just going to kind of rinse that a little bit. I did my best to clean it off as best I could. I didn't really feel the need to polish the base plate for the most part because, you know, this part isn't seen. Oh, so you know what? We can do a little bit of a comparison. This is a fairly new base plate, so it doesn't really have a patina, but at least you can see kind of what the bead blasted look looks like compared to this polish. Obviously, I could have used Brasso or some of the other metal polishes, and obviously Brasso is made for brass. But I didn't have any on hand. I just felt like trying the chrome polish, and it seemed like it worked pretty well. This is a Gillette Platinum that I'll be using today, and it's got about 12 shaves on it or so. It's often a really good blade for me in some of the different razors I have. And the Chris Bradley razor has these nice posts here that line up these DE blades perfectly every time, so no need to worry about aligning the blade. I shaved, this is my second shave with this base plate. Just got it in, really liked it the first time. I'll probably like it again. Yeah, I think I really like the gleam here. I'll let the patina develop. It'll get a little darker. We'll see how that looks, but I can always give it another shine, bring it back to this level if I want. The Whip Dog brush, I've had it. It doesn't really require too much soaking, very much at all. And we will, Gray Vetiver, I believe, is kind of the scent for this R4L soap. I think South Florida Wet Shavers is kind of the who started this particular limited edition. I'm looking forward to using it again. I really like this one. And there's a Vetiver, Fresh Vetiver. Yeah, Fresh Vetiver from Fine Accoutrements. Very, very, very similar, if not identical, scent. And performance is great on that one too. All right. I just took a shower, so I don't really feel like I need to splash water, do any kind of water prep before the shave. Let's do a 20, just for grins, let's do a 30-second load. It's kind of my normal thing. Shake most of the water out of the brush. 22 millimeter Silvertip is this one. All right, 30-second load. 11 just started, so I'll go to 41. I am really curious about Stirling because I just did a chiseled face usage in August. Okay, so that's 20 seconds. I bet that's enough soap already, but let's just go all the way to 30 and see what we end up with. Almost there, and there we go. So that's what 30 seconds looks like for this little Silvertip. And I've never had a problem, you know, having a hard time picking up soap with such a soft brush. You know, it works just fine. Let me rinse off the threads here. Give it a little shake and set it aside to dry a little bit. Take my bowl, Roger Quintero 3D printing design. Links are in the description if you have a 3D printer. This is the tall handle from Whip Dog. Fits 24 millimeter as well. In the beginning, I bought the 24 millimeter Whip Dog Silvertip. Really enjoyed the knot. I like that poofy style, not too much backbone. But then I thought, since even back then I had a goatee, and I thought, with this little small tract of land, do I really need that 24? What if I backed it down to a 22? I'd have more room to maneuver, just, you know, by a hair. And I'd tend to use up less soap, you know? So I thought, why not do that? And so I did. And so I put that 22 millimeter knot in this handle. But here's the thing. If you've got a knot that has a tendency to maybe be a little bit too soft, splay a little bit too much, then, oh man, I love this scent. It's coming up to me right now. It smells great. If you have a knot that some regard as floppy, then maybe setting it a little deeper in the handle might be a good idea. But at least maybe also ordering or getting a knot the bigger size may be better, just to add a little bit more density due to the added fibers. You know, even if it was a slightly bigger knot trying to navigate around my face. And so I'm going to be paying attention today to the floppiness. And so maybe, who knows, what if I ordered if I saw if he had a 26 millimeter knot. And because then I could put it in a 26 handle, and maybe that extra, those extra bristles would provide that some density, which then would translate into a little more backbone. So I'm going to be paying attention to that. I'm also going to be paying attention to the first pass. How does this feel? Because lately I've been using my Stirling Finest Badger brush, which is a 2-band. It's got more backbone than this by far. Soft tips, but more backbone, and it's more dense. And so I am finding that first pass is not as comfortable, not as puffy and awesome as I remember this type of brush being. And I'm wondering if it's just because of the sheer number of bristles coming across my stubble, and the hairs are kind of getting in the way and maybe causing a little bit of drag. So that's something I'm going to try to pay attention to as well today. Lather looking great already, just kind of slowly adding water. I think I'm 2.5 teaspoons of water added. Stirling is just such a great lather. It really is. Great appearance as well as function. So I do, like so many my age and older, I remember where I was on 9/11. Just a normal kind of day at work, working in an office. The CEO had a TV in his office, and word got around that something was going on, and so we all kind of gathered in his office and watched, and we saw the burning building, the first tower that was hit, smoke coming out. Of course, we didn't know it was a terrorist attack. Somebody may have mentioned that, but you know, we were of course in shock. But you know, one of the biggest things we didn't know was that the tower was going to just fall and crumble and make so much destruction. You know, we didn't know that was coming, and I think that was one of the things that made it so significant. I think 3,120 people is the count of people who lost their lives, and obviously that includes the first responders who were rescuing. You know, we just had no clue that the towers would fall like that. I'm going to guess the terrorists didn't either, but maybe they did. So of course, when the second plane hit the other tower, we knew that, you know, it was likely, you know, not some kind of mechanical difficulty or accident or pilot error or something like that, you know, and we are still so much in shock. And then when the first one fell, I think that was when everybody's hearts kind of dropped, because before that, you know, you kind of assumed that a whole lot of people who were in the towers were still going to be able to just gradually make their way down. You know, maybe we'd get some helicopters in there to rescue the people on top. And so there was some hope there, and because we didn't know the doom that was coming because of the crashing, the collapsing of the towers. But then when that happened, oh man. And, and on 9/11 this year, of course, we've got people who now are remembering their loved ones that passed away. And so it's a tough day. It was a heavy day. My wife was watching some shows about remembering family members and things like that, and I'm glad she was, because that helped me to remember too. I didn't have anybody personally there, but it reminded me of how real it was to a lot of families out there. And it changed everything. Businesses all over America had to put locks on their doors, and everybody got ID cards to be able to swipe in, and of course the mess at airports and all that, But I also remember the awesomeness that was the rebound, the country banding together, and that spirit just coming together, people helping people, whoever needed it in whatever capacity. And so it's always encouraging to see that, and to see good come from evil, Well, I've got 4 teaspoons in this lather. Looks tremendous. I bet it's time to shave with it. Big old wad. Not waste any soap, right? Man, this smells so good. Splash on my face. Face is also extra clean today because I took a shower previous. That's not my norm. See, this is a lot more comfortable when applying lather at this stage. The Stirling one is so dense. This feels so much better. It's not getting tripped up on the bristles, on my whiskers. I'm adding just a little bit of water to it, because the first pass seems to warrant that sometimes. Well, I was really fortunate to be advised to buy one of these knots in the beginning by a veteran shaver online. Now, that person stopped giving that advice after too long, but I'm glad I came in at the right time, because it just happened to be the kind of brush I enjoy. Trends have shifted a little bit. You don't really see Whip Dog mentioned too much anymore, or Frank shaving, but for me, I wouldn't consider that experience floppy at all. I had a good feel to it. A little bit more backbone than the Golden Nib Silvertip Premium brush that I have, and so I think that makes this officially one of my favorite brush, perhaps. Kind of crazy. So maybe I need to find a nice handle for this one. This Whip Dog tall handle, I don't think I like quite as much as I thought I would, but I can move the knot around, because I adhered it with just silicone instead of epoxy. All right, let's see if this shiny brass object, how it works with the Gillette Platinum. And it's not a new Platinum, it's definitely, there's a good many people who would have thrown it away by now. It works great for me. The razor's cutting hair really well. No irritation or anything like that. A little bit of blade feel, sure, but no tugging or anything like that. And just staying light, keeping my grip. Oh, that's a good scent. Man, I like that. I think the Tom Ford has a scent, a vetiver scent out that this is kind of patterned after. And man, it's good. So if you want a little bit less blade feel, a little bit more comfort, then you can back down to a lower open comb base plate if you want. This is not aggressive. This is definitely flying in the face of that myth that open combs are always aggressive, and it's just not true at all. So I've got tons of awesome Stirling lather here, and at, I don't know, what is it, $13 or $14 for almost 6 ounces. I think it's kind of the soap to beat if you want to compete. You need to produce something that's got a better lather than this if you're gonna be on the market. Nice slickness as well. Good glide on the razor. And I am curious because I know that in about 28 uses in August, I only used about 10 grams of soap from Chiseled Face, which means that I think that if I were to buy that same new tub and start, I think it's 10 and a half months approximately that it would take me to use up that tub. And Chiseled Face is a good, inexpensive brand as well. And so that makes it a really good value if you happen to use up your soap as slowly as I do. And each time I still had 1 or 2 passes left over, and my lathers were good. And so it wasn't like I was, being all skin flinty, skimping and all that, and trying to make do with whatever I could. There were a couple of shaves like that, but almost all of them had plenty of extra, and they were nice lathers. So I guess because I like the wet lathers, that means I use less soap, and I use a bowl, which also means you can get more from your soap instead of face lathering. Nice, slick rinses between passes here. I definitely did not need to go to 30 seconds on the load. Still got tons in the bowl. And we're starting the third pass. Man, I love this brush. This is how I want a brush to feel. All right. I'm playing around with all these finest knots, but this right here, I like it. I like it. So yeah, you can go down to the lower base plates if you want something more smooth, and I found them pretty much just as efficient for my type of shaving. If you are a person who likes to do an against the grain pass, maybe you do a cross grain first and then an against the grain pass, then maybe you need to have something up here in this range. But I get a great shave. I've tried, I think, B all the way up to D in this open comb, and I am a big fan. It just has a different feel than the solid bar. If I had to ditch all my solid bars, I think maybe I'd be okay with that, because this is just such a good feel. It doesn't feel aggressive. There is a little bit of blade feel sometimes, but if you don't want too much, just go down to the B. I think I might buy an A open comb eventually, maybe next month, and just to kind of enjoy that as well. I think I like the open combs across the board better. With the solid bar, I found that I like the B, the A. The B gave me the same shave as the A, but not as comfortable. So I like the A better than the B. I like the C, and then the D was similar in that it gave me pretty much the same result as the C, but just a little bit less comfort. And so I like the A and the C were my two favorites. When I grew up, went up to the E, decided to try that one, it was a huge jump from the D. Irritated me. It was way too rough for me. But the way this D feels, I felt like I have to also, let's buy the E open comb and just see how that goes. It may be the same. It may be too much. If it is, then I might sell it. But I think I might try it. So that's in the future though. So as expected, this razor did really well. Let's rinse it off. Now, unfortunately, one of the things that happened after 9/11 was maybe some animosity toward people it wasn't justified to be against. My parents are very involved in the Arabic culture in a few areas of the world, and they have met so many awesome people. And I believe even back in after the 9/11 stuff, somebody was telling me that it's just about 20% of the Muslim population that is this radical type of belief system that might intend violence toward a lot of other people in the world. And so that's 80% of the Muslims out there are just like you and me, and many of them kind of believe their faith, but because some of the Quran does talk about some pretty harsh things, but a lot of them kind of dismiss those as that's maybe something for the old days, or something that was an idea back then. It's not something really we should follow now. And so 80% of the Muslims out there are peaceful people who just want to live life and let you live yours, you know. And so I just wanted to put that out there because maybe that's a message that hasn't been said enough. Obviously 9/11 and the events of that are no longer as much in the public eye as they used to be. But I wanted to go ahead and say that. We've got some very good Arabic friends, and those are our treasured friendships. So we shouldn't lump everybody into that same fanatical category, just like Americans are the same way. We've got our own lunatics that we hope nobody else judges everybody by, you know. All right, let's do, I got a terrific, nice, close cut in my trouble spot right there. So that's a big win for this blade and razor combo. Let's throw some of this on. I really enjoy the soap. I'm pretty sure that this is close enough to the soap. It's very similar. Sometimes Stirling, if I put it on right after a shave, is a little harsh on my skin. Sometimes even bringing up some redness. I'm going to throw on some witch hazel too. Matter of fact, I took kind of an empty bottle and put a little bit of witch hazel in with a Stirling aftershave, and I really like the way that translated. It softened it up, but still gave me plenty of scent. So very nice. I'll be enjoying that for a little while after the shave now. So I used up so little soap with chiseled face. I'm really curious about Stirling. Obviously, I can reduce my Stirling load because I think I've probably got enough for 3 passes right here. Look at that. Yeah, I definitely could pull off a 3-pass shave with that. Nice drop, a little bit of stretch, nice elasticity. I'd say this was a really good lather for me. Just right in the, still in the creamy phase by far. I probably could have pushed a little bit more water into it if I'd have wanted. But really happy with this, and just reminded again how much I do enjoy this brush thoroughly. I've been branching out, but you know what I might do? I might buy a 24 millimeter whip dog and a 26 millimeter if they sell that one. I know they have the 24, the Silvertip, and put them in some other handles. Why not focus, instead of branching out so much on different makers and stuff, why don't you pick one that you absolutely love and maybe alter that just a little bit to see if you love other things about its family as well. So maybe we'll do that. 2.5 teaspoons of soap was all it took. I'll definitely reduce Could I get away with 15 seconds of loading next time? I think maybe I'll try it. That's almost where I landed with chiseled face. And who knows, if I have the same usage pattern with Stirling as I do chiseled face, there's just no way I'm going to use up all my soaps before I die, So maybe I'll give some away or sell some, or, throw out some samples to folks. I don't know. We'll figure out something. Probably sell them and, put money back in savings, that sort of thing. Who knows? Just finished stropping this with a towel. Wanted you to see the difference. This is the Maggard SHD knot, 26 millimeter. You can see how it's more likely to keep its shape. It's not quite as flat like that. But then the density, you can see way more white in this one. But for me, and I do enjoy this knot a lot, but I may just enjoy this one better because the feel, it's more kind of cloud-like, and like I said, there's less bristles on that first pass to hit and be pulled by my stubble. I didn't know that would be a difference, but I notice it big time in that Stirling Finest Badger. But here, that Whip Dog feels great. How about that? Still recommend the Stirling Finest because so many people like their bristles with more backbone than I do, and so it's still a very high recommended brush. Nice soft tips. Well, I do plan on marathoning this blade. I don't know how long it's going to take me. I am kind of coming off of a marathon with that Nasset. I'm going to keep going with it, but just come along with a long consecutive streak of use with it. And so I went ahead and put an M right here, and this is my 4-dot one, just to be I don't have any other platinums that I'm using right now, but just to put something unique on there so that I can show you as I increase the lifespan of this one. We'll just see how far it'll go. I don't know. It sure felt good today, and it was a great match with this base plate on the Chris Bradley. In one of the specials, I think it was called Stories from 9/11 or something like that, there was an old lady, and I'm sure it was her son who passed away in that event, and she just showed such grace and compassion and wisdom, and she said that you do mourn for a while, but then instead of getting bitter and focusing on what has been taken away, she said that she instead thought about the 30 years that she got to experience with her son and focused on that. And that was really special. That was classy. And I think a lot of us have experienced loss, and I think that's a good way of thinking about it. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Take care.